你是被领养的，对吗？他是什么时候才跟你说你是被领养的？
其实我妈妈要过世的时候，她要跟我讲，我知道，我阻止她讲。
你一直都知道？
我已经知道了。她从 baby 养我大长大，我何必要去给她勾起那些往事？我要是说，这个世界上跟那些年轻人一辈讲，妈妈只有一个，走了就没有了。
Hi everyone, welcome to Tea Talks, a show where we trade tea for stories. And morning, Adele.
Good morning, Jia Ling. Today we are super energetic and we are at Bishan Park. Today we will be talking about our parents, our moms
specifically.
Especially, yes.
So do you remember the last fight you had with her? Starting with the hard questions.
So the longest we had this Cold War was about a week.
Oh shit.
It was horrible. I felt like I didn't have a mother.
Oh no.
Because you know, you don't want to put down your ego,
Yeah.
but at the same time you want to care about her. So
what was the fight about?
Oh my gosh, the worst thing is I can't really even remember. I think it was more of me trying to be an adult to my mom, like because I want her to take care of her own health. Yeah, it's somehow, you know, I studied applied food science and nutrition. I tell them for the longest time, I told her brown rice is healthy for you. Then she's like, oh, I don't want to eat it, it's too hard. Then some random Facebook video come out and say brown rice is good for you.
Man.
She started cooking brown rice.
These strangers' opinion.
But we do love each other. She's more like a tiger mom in a sense. When I was growing up, my mom is always the disciplinarian. Last time when she would whack me with a cane, right? And then she whack me, right? And then I would smile and laugh.
No, why?
Yeah, I think I psycho.
Oh,
no, just kidding. I would smile and laugh, and then she would be like, "Wow, the more you smile, the more I'm gonna whack you."
Wow, I really never fight with my mom much. So I went to go to WhatsApp, right? And then I go and search story. Then I went to scroll it's all sorry mama, I'm not coming back for dinner. Sorry mama, I forgot to turn off the lights.
Oh my god.
Damn lame. Oh sorry, I never eat the food you prepare, that kind of thing lah. Okay. Then I was I scrolled until 2016, I couldn't find anything. It's not to say maybe we had some disagreements, but I don't think we had a super big fight. Just keep it inside if we are annoyed with each other, that kind of things. Yeah. But I think it's just because my mom is a very chill person, and also I feel I'm quite a obedient kid since young.
Oh my god, you're praising yourself.
No,
okay, you are an obedient kid.
I was telling Wenqi I'm not stupid. Terry, right? He always listens to his mom. I'm like a Terry, you know.
Really? But you're it's so cute that you even text your mom things like, sorry mama, I forget to off the light.
I always tell people she's one of my best friends lah. My mom is not a tiger mom. Even if I do badly in school, she also won't scold me, or she doesn't think it's a problem. I feel there's 5 love languages.
Right.
I feel like my mom ticks off all the boxes. So she's a big hugger. Every time my friends come over, even if she met them 1-2 times, she'll hey hello, then she'll go and hug them.
I wish to meet your mom one day.
Yeah, you should come over.
Yeah, then she can hug me. Do you want some tea? We can make.
Yeah, no, it's if you share with us some stories, we can give you some tea in return.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's nice to be sitting here in the park and chatting.
We were actually talking about our relationships with our moms, and basically we went into something a bit more personal, which was when was our last fight with our moms. Yeah, do you remember
the biggest fight you had with your mom?
She was an intelligent woman and a very calm person. I had a good relationship with her, but she was strict in her own way. I really realized that I had a wonderful mom, whom I didn't kind of understand then, but I'm sort of understanding her now. So now I have a daughter, and so we find that our roles are reversed. She's no longer the little kid, and I always tell people that your mom duties really never give up, because the worrying part, when they were young, you're worried about they'll fall, they'll trip. Then you're looking out for them to study well and do well. And this worrying never stops really. And I think it just mutates.
I was just talking to a friend how come I'm 26 but my mom still texts me at 12 a.m. I'm such a grown up, I can come home perfectly on my own.
This is also part of the Asian culture. Worrying is very healthy.
Okay.
It shows your concern, but a mom who worries is a mom who cares.
I think you are also a really strong woman, because personally I don't think I'll be able to imagine the day when my mom, eventually move on and go to the universe or somewhere. So I don't think you'll ever be ready for that situation.
I think I also had this issue because I'm the only child. So I have no siblings. And so I used to sometimes imagine when I heard stories, news of my friends' parents passing away, then I used to shudder and never wanted to think about it.
Yeah, that's
I would be in
now.
denial. No, my parents will never die. No. That can never happen. Not now. Till one day I had a feeling when my father started to show signs of dementia, very early dementia. So that's the reality struck me, and I said, okay, and now I have to grapple with the honest truth that I was, as the only child, I told myself, if I weep alone, and I have to, wipe my own tears. So what do I do from here? I mean, I had a very honest talk about it, And I said, okay, my mother was as mortal a being as I am. Anything can happen to anyone. We have to be prepared that we are born alone in this world, we live alone, we go alone. But in this, we collect a lot of passengers, as I say, co-travelers. They all come as co-travelers in your life. I bond with them at different levels, and they make different meanings to me in my life, and I must handle it. So this gave me a little sense of detachment. Even a couple of weeks back, I remember I'm missing my father a lot. So there are moments like this. I can't say that I'm so controlled in my emotions. I wish they were here to. Well, can't they just come for 1 minute and talk to me? Can they not just come down? Can I not hear their voice and speak and things like that? Yes. And
I personally feel that I will still want my mother when I'm 80 years old. I will still want, my mom to be here and
But look
talk
at the
to
flip
me.
side. If I, at this age, my mother would now be about 97. You want to hang on to them, but what quality of life are they going to have at 91, 92? And
So
Do you
gotta
feel
cherish
like-
the moment.
so, it's life. Life is like that.
Do you feel like you can talk about her so fondly because you kind of already did like most of the things you wanted to do with her?
I can't say I did a lot of things with her. I could have done more. In life, we can only do what is best, and whatever opportunities come your life. Nothing can be perfect.
What is something that you miss the most about your mom?
Her calmness, her pieces of advice she would have given. She's the kind of mom that I needed.
Wow.
Yeah. Thank you so much,
Thank
because I have to
you.
finish my walk and
Thank
get
you,
on with
Sandra.
it.
Okay,
It was
thank
very
you so
nice
much for
meeting
joining
you.
us. Oh my gosh. Thank you.
I'm like her I always think like, no liar, never
Yeah.
happen.
Yes, exactly. Like my mom, she will always be like, now got people help you wash your clothes. Next time when I'm not here, then you know.
I think only when we, I guess, have this kind of combos or we stop to think about like what they have done for us, then we realize that they have done a lot, right? Like what's like one or some sacrifices that you can remember that your mom has done?
I think my mom don't really have a lot of friends of her own because she dedicate most of her time towards raising me and my brother. So when I was younger, she's a housewife. But I also think there's a silver lining lah. My dad is sort of like her best friend. Yeah, because they go everywhere together.
So cute. I feel
Yeah.
like that's very common, right? Like it's not really a sacrifice that you will say like, wow, my mom like saved a country for me. But it's these kind of things that add up, and then you realize that this is what she gave up for me.
Yeah. What about you? Like your mom, the sacrifices?
I think similar. But one good thing is that my mom is very like I always tell people like she's a lover of life. Every time she comes back from work, she'll still make sure to like cook for my brother and I mean my whole family lah. Like I know that she's tired from work and she has a lot of like other things that she wants to do, but she still has very traditional ways of like showing
Like
love.
she want to.
She wants to do
for
it.
you
Like I would say
guys.
like when she wakes up early to prepare breakfast for my brother, then I'll be like, just let him buy his own food lah. But she will say, as long as I'm still around, I want to do it for him.
Is it rolling? Okay. This episode is supported by Food Panda.
Thanks,
Food Panda. Looking for a gift for your mom this Mother's Day? Many of us still think of Food Panda as just a food delivery app. But today, I learned that it is so much more than that. You can actually order groceries, electronic products, and even beauty products in the app itself.
So my mom loves to exercise. She's very fit. So I'm thinking of buying her some towels she can bring to the gym. What about you?
I think my mom would appreciate a Xiaomi watch because her Mi Band is currently malfunctioning.
And if you're looking for a last-minute present, you can consider a Panda Pro subscription too.
From now to 8 May, use the code ThankYouMom to get 50% off the Panda Pro annual plan. Do check out the app if you want some inspiration on how to get some gift for your mom. Now let's go back to talk about our mothers. Joy. Hi, Joy.
Hi. For joining us. Yeah, so today we're actually talking about our moms and our relationships with our moms lah, basically. Yeah, do you remember like a biggest fight that you had with your mom?
Biggest fight, you know?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, when I was a teenager, I can consider myself a bit rebellious lah. Yeah, because I like my thoughts and my mom's thoughts are very different. So my mom is a very traditional person. My thoughts is to her concerning. So to me, it's like I want my freedom.
Yeah.
You know, I want my adventure.
Yeah.
I always think that she don't understand my feelings. So there's a lot of times whereby I will stay over at my friend's place. Yeah. So and then partying and things like that. So to her, it's like, hey, you know, you be safe, you're a girl, and kind of stuff.
Danger.
So yeah, so there's some times whereby I will just stay at my friend's place, and you know, I'll be a bit rude to her. I'll just say that, hey, you don't understand. You know, just leave me alone, kind of stuff.
Do you see yourself like being your mom to your child?
Yes, people will say that you sacrificed for your kids. I gave up my, you know, my passion, my job. So ever since I have my first kids, I stay home for 16 years. Yeah. So but I never regret. So I see the love that the kind of bonding that I have with my children. Yeah, even though now my eldest girl is like a friend to me. Yeah, so I understand that these are the things that if you miss it, you might not get back. Yeah, so that's why I give up. And I spend the time with my children.
That's something that I spoke about earlier. Like my mom, she's also a housemaker for, I think, a good whole of my youth.
Yeah.
And I always felt really bad in a way because I felt that she have to give up so much of her own time.
But I guess your mom won't feel regret. You gave up to enjoy another different kind of way of living. I never regret.
Thank you for the reassurance. Oh my gosh. But it's really interesting to hear from a mother perspective.
Yeah, thank you so much for sitting down and
Yeah,
having
really,
a talk
really
with us.
thank you so much.
Yeah.
Hello，你好。讲华语，讲华语。
坐这边。
坐这边。
可以。因为母亲节要到了，所以我们刚才在跟彼此分享母亲嘛，你跟她的关系如何
OK， 我两位的母亲，
哦。
一位是生母，一位是养母。我养母是以当我的年代500块是很大，是卖给了我养母，所以我也很感激我养母，真的她是儿女大的母亲。所以我可以说她过世了21年了，我还是照上去，还是去拜拜他们，还是拜拜她，因为她不把我当成是她的养子这样，她把我当成她亲生儿子。我从小就是体弱多病的人，连她本身一位母亲，她可以说撑起整个家。我知道我一生病，她是最紧张的，她怎样都那时家里很穷，她怎样都会去借钱啊什么来帮助我。虽然我的养父是真的很会骂人，很会打人，很严，但是每次有事情养父要打我的时候，他一定第一个护在我的前面，他被打，而不是我被打。
你记得他为你做过最大的牺牲是什么吗？
我永远记得他是做建筑的，我妈妈。有一次不懂什么事情，我爸爸说我不会原谅我，肯定要打到我很严重。他5点多要去做工的时候，把我带去工地3天。
为了保护你啊？
为了保护我，把我带去工地。连我妈妈是很省的，她会把每天早上起来拿饭自己吃。去到那边她没有拿，因为饭去那边就是冷的，她那边买烧的东西给我吃。所以虽然那个是我6、7岁的时候发生的，不过永远在我心中。我这边讲，应该我太太会听到。我希望她听到，她也不要骂我。我最爱的是我母亲。
哇，uncle，可以感受到你对你母亲的爱。
真的真的。
你是被领养的对吗？他是什么时候才跟你说你是被领养的？
其实我妈妈要过世的时候，她要跟我讲，我知道，我阻止她讲。
你一直都知道？
我已经知道了。她从 baby 养我大长大，我何必要去给她勾起那些往事？每年我是驾德士，我的车一经过林厝港，就算太阳多热，我去跟她谈谈天，我才会，真的，妈妈只有一个，走了就没有了。真的对待妈妈要很好，真的啊！你看我的粉丝在催我了，他们要走了。
哦 ，OK， 谢谢你的分享，安哥，谢谢你们，赶紧讲，Cheers，谢谢。Even though it has already been 21 years, I think he still misses his mom a lot. Being a mother is really a very
so many things that they
So
have
many
done that we don't think about. Do you have like a favorite memory of your mum?
I think my favorite memory of my mom would be yesterday
Yeah.
itself. Whenever I say I like to eat something, right,
Yeah.
my mom will take note of it, although she wouldn't tell me that she take note of
Yeah.
it. I just casually mentioned something like, wow, this chocolate bread not bad. And I've been eating chocolate bread for the past, I think, 5 days. Then what about you, Jia Ling? What's your favorite memory of your mom?
I have a lot of like, I don't remember the big like, I guess lavish things, but I remember a lot of small like funny moments with my mum. So sometimes when we smell like good food from the kitchen, right, like our neighbors cook food, then I will egg her on like to say, again, like ask who cooking.
To ask for the food,
Then
right?
she will shout out the window like, who's cooking the curry?
Really? So cute! Your mom does that for you?
Very silly lah. I realized that I guess another reason why I feel like we can be such good friends is because we can like do a lot of silly things together, and it's just very funny. Like when I look back on it, I'm like, my mom really entertains me. Yeah. So
I feel like tea talks always reminds me to be present. Be present and cherish what we have.
like what
as friends.
Huang Xianchuan said, don't live with any regrets with your mom that you could have done. So thanks for sitting down and sharing stories with us. It was very nice to hear all the different stories that came by.
Feel free to comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you guys will be updated for the next episode.
And most importantly, please sit down the next time you see us.
Yeah.
Yay.
So till the next time. Bye bye. Hello. Thank you. So I just ended my day and I'm going to join my parents for dinner and I will surprise my mom then. Mama, Happy Mother's Day. 给你的。你看一看是什么？这手表嘛，你 like it？你want Happy Mother's Day？谢谢。